Hi guys, Fred here from InDesign Tips and Tricks. Today we're going to look at what we can do if our images aren't filling the space on our InDesign page. Now there's multiple ways to do it, but we might be on a tight deadline or we might want to send our client several versions of our ideas. So this could hopefully speed up your workflow and give you a few more options. Let's get into it. Here we have a full page advert for a bathroom customer. And if we click on the image box here, and we go and click and hold the preview mode and turn to bleed, we can see that we've got enough image to go beyond the document edges. So we've got enough there for the ad to be professionally printed to cover our bleed off. We've got this section here at the bottom, which has got our logo and contact details. What I want is for this image to actually come down and meet that coloured block with all the contact details. If we click the target here, we can see that the image actually finishes along this line. So those are the actual parameters of the photo if we were to open that in Photoshop. Now obviously these days, we've got some very clever tools in Photoshop where we can actually recrop the image, and Photoshop can generatively expand the photo to whatever size we want. But we don't always know how much extra image we need, and sometimes we just want to do things quickly to show our customer how their images might look in the composition of the advert. So if we just come back over here, click and hold the preview mode, and we'll go back to preview. That's now taken our bleed edge away, so we can just see where we're working on the edge of our document. We've still got the image selected here within the image container itself. A couple of ways to get back to the container. We can either hit escape. And by the way, if you want to select the image within the container without hitting the target, you can do shift escape, and that selects the image. Another way is to go over to the selection tool here at the top, click off the pasteboard and click onto the image, avoiding the target. That will always pick up the box around the image. So let's just bring this toggle back to the bottom of our photo. And we basically want to make up this gap here of the white. So what I'm going to do, with the image box selected, we're going to go Command C to copy, and then we're going to go Command, Option, Shift and V. That's actually pasted a copy perfectly over the top of our original picture. So what I'm looking at is these tiles here at the bottom could potentially be stretched, as it were, to take up the slack of this white band. So what we'll do is we'll grab this middle toggle here. We'll come down to a point where we're not sort of grabbing the bath, we're literally just into the tiles there. And then I'm a bit worried about this join in the tile. It might make it a bit weird if we stretch the image, which is exactly what we're going to do. So we're just going to nudge that up above that gap in the tile, and then holding Command and grabbing this middle toggle, if we stretch down, this actually brings the whole image with it. Click off the pasteboard. So overall, as we view this as a graphic, as one image, that actually looks quite good. And if we were maybe going to present 3 or 4 different images for the customer to choose from, that would be perfectly fine to show them as an example without spending too much time adjusting images just to get our visuals across. Here we have a setup from a seminar program that we do for another customer, and we've got our 4 speakers down here, and then we've got our chairperson. Originally I wanted the chairperson's image to fill the width of the 4 speakers below. So this is the box that we've brought him into, and when I've brought him in, his image is cropped in Photoshop. So if we just press escape, we go back to the box that contains the image. Now what I quite like is the grey that's behind him to extend the whole width of this box, and that will complement a lot of the other colours on the page as well. So what we can do is go over to our eyedropper tool, and this time we're going to pick the grey in the image. We didn't need to add that to our swatches, but we can still see this faint line down here where his image ends and then it goes into the grey that we've picked out of the image. And that is because there's a slight gradient on the background of John's picture here. what we can do is go back to our black selection tool at the top. As we roll over the image, we get our image target, or again, we can do Shift Escape. That's picked up the image within the box. Go over to our gradient feather tool. And I'm just going to draw a straight line from his shoulder towards the edge of the image. So I click, drag, and hold Shift. If we go back to the selection tool and click off, that has now blended the image to the grey that we picked out of the picture. And that just makes the whole thing look a lot more seamless. Okay, so hopefully that's given you a few ideas on what you can do now with your imagery. I might possibly do a video actually showing you the workflow of going back into Photoshop and then using the crop tool and generatively expanding our images, just to show you how that workflow might work as well. Let me know in the comments if you think that would be useful. If you found this video cool, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to stick around for future videos, it'd be wicked if you subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!